Hi everyone, today we are going to be walking through how to use the Marin Mini Pro Makeup Kit. Your kits first should come with a color palette, a sponge. We're also going to be using setting powder and a little floof for that. It should also come with either a black or a brown eyeliner, as well as a little lip brush. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is figure out our base color that we're going to be working with. So this happens to be the medium, olive medium palette. We are going to take a look at the different colors that are available. This one's missing one, but sorry. So the way that we get started is we work with a match. So we want to go just a little bit darker than our natural tone. For me, it's this one right here. If you look at the colors, this is just barely darker than my natural skin tone. You want to go a little bit darker, but not too dark. So see, you want to keep in that same relative palette. So if your undertones are yellow, you want to go with one that's got more of a yellow in it. If your undertones are more red, you're going to go with one that's a little bit more red. So for me, this one looks like a better match than this guy. So what you're going to do is you are going to take your sponge and you are going to gently smooth over that color that works for you. And you're going to go from the top of your forehead. You're going to curve down the side of your face as best as you can. You want to keep nice even strokes if possible. You can add in more foundation if you need it, more of that base color. But you want to start at the center of your forehead and curve down, kind of like imagining the curves, the contours of a pumpkin. So it's not just a straight line down. You want to curve and follow the shape of your face. Notice I am blending as I go. You don't want to over blend, but you do want to get under your chin and get into your hairline just a little bit. See how there's a line right now? We're just going to push that into the hairline so you don't look like an absolute pumpkin, because this is darker again than your natural tone, or it should be if you are choosing the correct color. Make sure you get all the nooks and crannies. Under. Okay. So we got our face on, the initial part of it. Now it is just adding the details. So first thing that I like to start with is the blush. You can choose either one of these. Typically, if you go with the more neutral of your red colors, that is going to show just your standard makeup. If you're going to go with a lighter color, that typically goes for like young characters. So if you are supposed to be a child, that's when you go with like the brighter blush. But if you go with something that is still in that red part of the tone, but more neutral, that's what most people are going to be. So see, I'm just kind of tapping my fingers back and forth like this. I'm going to do that right along the cheekbone. Do that both sides. It might look funny before it's blended, but you're actually not going to overdo the blush. The idea is from a distance, from the stage, you're going to need to have more obvious makeup so that you don't look washed out when you're actually under the lights. So I've got my blush on, and I'm just going to pat to make it look a little more even. Get rid of the fingerprints, basically. I'm not smushing, I'm just blotting. So now we've got our foundation, we've got our blush, the next thing that we need to do is add our contour. Contour is basically just what shows the different shapes within your face. So we contour here at Edison either side of the nose. We get right where like the centerpiece of your ear here follows to about the center of your cheekbone on both sides. That is our basics. Okay, so to accomplish that, we're going to take the darkest shade that we've got, and you're just going to get a little bit of makeup on the edge. We're going to go just like this, just like this, and you can see our lines. And do the same thing here and here. So it looks kind of funny right now, but it'll blend out. If you are an older character, this is where you would add extra contouring. So a little bit at the eyes, a little bit for the wrinkles, that sort of stuff. But once you've got this in, you're just going to very slightly, I'm using a clean part of my sponge, or mostly clean, part of my sponge, and just very lightly blending. I even blended it a little bit too much here, so we're going to add in more. Okay, and do the same thing. We're going to go down like so. So you can see the shadows very clearly. But it doesn't just look like a solid line anymore. Again, blending down. I blended a little bit too much there too. We're going to go adding just a little bit more for the effect. Okay. Okay, so now we've got contouring, we've got our blush, we've got our foundation. Next is the eyeliner. So I'm going to do my eyes two different ways. A masculine character is going to go from the center of the eye out, below, and above the eye. Notice that there's a gap between the top and the bottom liner. It seems silly for anyone who would happen to wear makeup on a daily basis. That may not be intuitive, but it's going to make your eyes look bigger, and it's going to make them stick out more when you are on the stage. The other side, we're going to do the eye makeup for a feminine character, and so that is going to go from the center of the eye, or like all the way over by the tear duct, not actually going in the waterline, but just above. This is really hard to do on a camera. Like so. Same thing all the way over the full eye, like so, on the bottom. If you have any mascara, this is the time that you would use that. So you would coat your eyelashes with the mascara, like so. Both masculine and feminine characters are encouraged to use mascara. This does not come in the kit, but it is definitely encouraged. Okay, the very last thing, aside from lips, you're going to use the same color as you use for the blush. Just apply it like you would Vaseline. And then you're going to take your setting powder. So setting powder the container that you get may or may not look like this, but it is like a white, almost looks like baby powder. And you're gonna apply it to your sponge or to your little makeup water. And you're just gonna go all over your face. And again, notice that I am patting. I am not rubbing. Because the idea of this is to keep your makeup set in place so that it doesn't melt under the lights. And then there we go. That's my feminine side. Here's my masculine side. They're similar, a little bit different, but again, very similar. It is very possible that when you go on stage for your mic check or whatever else before the show, you may be asked to add more contouring, which again is this dark at the nose and at the cheek. Or you might also be asked to add more pop of color, so more blush. Typically here, make sure you get the lips, and you are all set.